And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome to RBLR Bucs, presented by RBLR Sports. Today, my name is Stefan, and I'm here with my main man, a little hurt, just like your secondary, but we'll get into it. How's it going, Musab? I hope you're feeling a little bit better. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better after that loss, but the voice is still feeling like the Buccaneers on Sunday after that Rams lost. It's feeling a little lost, but we're hanging in there and we're gonna recover, and we'll be ready this Sunday.
Love it, man. I agree. Well, before we deep dive into this, I just want to remind our listeners, if you could please, we would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to, all our social media platforms. We're on all the big ones at RBLR Sports. We would really appreciate that, as well as liking and subscribing our podcast. So, let's jump into a recap here of last week. As we know, the Bucs did take a loss, our first loss of the season. I don't think there's any reason to panic, but if I could put this in one sentence, and then I'll throw it back to Musab to hear you 1 sentence, 2 sentence summary, I would probably just go penalties, no pressure, decimated secondary, no run game equals a defeat in my book. So I kind of want to know if you agree with that, and your 1 to 2 sentence summary of this past week.
Yeah, my 1 to 2 sentence summary would probably be that we were aware that injuries could be a huge issue for the Bucs heading into this past game against the Rams. And, minute by minute, it was kind of like a confirmation. It wasn't getting better. And it was tough. It was tough to see, especially after what we've been going, dealing with and with all the success we've had in the past. But it was tough.
I agree, man. It was a tough watch, but hey, the ship has not sunken. We're just going through the waves. So let's get into our one of our favorite segments here: good, bad, and ugly. As always, let's start with the good stuff. I'll throw one of the good things that I love watching this past week. Again, Tom Brady's consistency, right? 41 out of 55 for 432 yards and a tutty. He looks as mobile as ever, too. I mean, he was moving out of the pocket, he was under pressure, and he was able to make the throws, so that was nice to watch. The only thing I would say is I wish we would have been a little bit better, or capitalized a little more in the red area. But besides that, I thought he had a great game. So, your opinion on him, Musab?
Absolutely. I'm really proud of him and his performance, and just seeing a 44-year-old like him being able to step up with all the obstacles in the way of this game, aka the injuries. It was really nice to see, and he had some interesting stats that I'm sure we'll dig deep into.
I would agree, man. Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about him a lot, but there's a reason why this guy looks like he's 20 something. He's looking really healthy, really good, no interceptions, which was great. Something very positive to talk about this game, as well as the positive might be a little smaller segment than normal, but the wide receiving core, right? I mean, a lot of people are on Mike Evans doesn't get a lot of targets, this and that. There's other these guys, and Mike Evans got another 8 receptions for 106 yards, which was really good. Our boy Chris Godwin, another really good game with 6 receptions for 74 yards, and he even scored a tutty in the run game. So what did you think about the wide receiving core? We didn't have Antonio Brown, which we both agreed was a tough loss, but all in all, I still think they performed really well. So I kind of want to get your opinion on the wide receiving core for this past weekend.
I think if everything else was going well, I think that would just be another thing that we enjoyed seeing. But I think it just really stood out, especially when reflecting about the game. They did a good job. They did a solid job. They did the best they could. It starts becoming a mental game, especially in the second half. So, were they perfect? No, but I was satisfied. There are things to be satisfied in regards to that game, and the wide receiver unit. Evans, Godwin, even Tyler Johnson.
Big catches.
So
yeah.
Exactly. So really nice to see that even when we had some issues, there were also some good things. And maybe that was just because, we had to make something happen because we are the Bucs. Or maybe, some players were like, hey, let me do the best I can. Let's stay fired up as much as we can. And unfortunately, I guess maybe it wasn't enough, or there's only so much that they could do.
I would agree 100% there. And again, like you mentioned, excuse me, there, like you mentioned, it's hard to find positive things, in a loss like that, where it kind of really bugged us because think about it, they've had our number for a few years. They beat us last year as well, so it was a hard one. But another positive item here, and he hasn't been mentioned a lot during the first 2 weeks, so it was really good to see a Gio Bernard sighting. I mean, he played really, really well, especially on third down. I mean, we know he got banged up in that last touchdown, but still 9 receptions for 51 yards. I mean, that's exactly why we brought him here to, kind of be that check down Charlie guy that gets those extra yards when you need it. And I thought he played excellent, so I kind of wanted to get your opinion there, especially since we've been on the running back unit a lot with their drops.
Yeah, the running back situation minus Gio Bernard was definitely a big mystery mark. So seeing someone like him kind of putting a name out for himself, doing as much as he could, that was nice to see as well. And I guess, at least, as much as, the loss was tough, it was nice seeing things like, Tyler Johnson, getting some things, but also, Giovanni Bernard. To me, this game finally was like, okay, all right, so this is what, we're going to be using him for. And we can always use him for more things as well if we figure he's good at other things. But yeah, I think there was a few things to really analyze, and yeah, Giovanni Bernard was definitely someone that I would say, okay, good good work. Obviously, could we always do better? Yeah, sure thing, but. With the situation, the injuries, and just everything that was going on, minute by minute, quarter by quarter, I think I would give him a solid, kind of satisfactory performance.
I would agree. I wasn't, nothing bad about it. I thought he played probably his best game as a Buck so far, so that was good to see. Moving into our bad segment, which, we have a few things to talk about. This one's going to hurt Musab, but Devin White, I love this guy.
Oh, no.
I love this guy, but I have to be quite honest. To me, he hasn't jumped out of the screen this year so far. I expected him to take a massive leap, after what we saw in the playoffs. He's even, to me, a little bit, back to being a little lost in coverage, which I don't appreciate. Maybe it's the pressure that he knows our D-line is not getting there, so he has to be kind of playing on the edge. Do I go for the quarterback? Do I stay? So a little bit lost last week, didn't love it. But, that being said, I think that was a wake-up call, and I think he'll bounce back in great fashion this week. He is one of our better players on the defensive side, if not the best. So I expect a bigger performance here. I think it was a big slap in the face how they just moved the ball around the yard on us. So I expect
there was definitely room for improvement for Devin White, but the big thing I just want to highlight, if for those who are watching the game who've even seen the highlights, there were times that there were some semi or just full on, or not super strong but full on, just little quick collisions that our teammates had with each other, because exactly they were lost. There was confusion. Adjustments had to be made, especially with our DBs. So. If I'm going to say he's going to be the defensive player of the year, then that includes not just his performance, but his leadership, especially stepping up in games like these when, we're already dealing with a lot of, battles before the game even started. So, yeah, that was, listen, I'm glad that, we made this mistake against a really good team. This was definitely something for someone like him. To say, hey, minus the rest of our teammates' situation or what's going on, I think I could do a better job. So I think he will against the Patriots for sure.
I would agree. And again, to your point, listen, the Rams are a really good offense, right? We played really three really good offenses with good weapons. I mean, Atlanta has struggled, but they do have the weapons and the quarterback. And the Cowboys, looked great against. So it's not like we played against some scrub offenses. So, not giving him a pass, but I expect big things, to your point, moving forward. Another guy that was a little unsatisfying to watch this past week, it's on offense, our guy Gronk, right? I mean, I know he did get jacked up, but before that hit, he had a massive drop on that first drive we had, right? And that just changes our approach because you get that ball, you're down to 15. who knows what could happen from there. And then later in the game, when we're trailing by 7, he gets a questionable pass interference call. It's completely on the other side of the play. But again, we got a first down on it. We were driving. That just completely stops the drive. We had to punt it. So, those things just kill the tempo and the momentum. And I wouldn't expect it from a guy like this. If you would have told me it was O.J. Howard, I probably would have believed you. But, not someone like this. So what were your thoughts about him? And obviously, again, we know he'll have a tremendous game this coming Sunday. But, from last week, what did you think?
Well, I think the big thing that our Bucs organization or our team was missing was the energy, the momentum. And those drops that Rob Gronkowski had, especially that first one that you were mentioning, those are kind of momentum changing plays. You know what I'm saying? So, if you were able to catch that, it changes the momentum, especially when you're already away. You're in a huge stadium. You got a bunch of Rams fans just, kind of trying to get in your head, all that other stuff, making noise. So I think it kind of got to him, honestly. I think the little Brady Gronkowski connection that was supposed to happen, that was supposed to show the Rams that, hey, the boys are, we're still doing real well. Unfortunately, that drop was like, oh, snap, uh-oh. And that kind of hyped up the Rams. It changes the momentum. The Rams were looking like super fired up every single moment. So it wasn't even that drop, but overall, it was just the energy that the Rams were bringing. And then, when you drop the ball on a catch like that, it really brings you down. If I was in Gronk's shoes and I dropped that in a stadium like that with the energy that the Rams were providing, I would feel very down, and it would kind of change my mentality. The way I'm approaching the rest of the game.
I would agree. And to your point, that it almost felt like this game meant a little more for them than it did to us, right? We won the Super Bowl. We're the defending champs, et cetera, et cetera. We're supposed to be, the hunted, and it looked like it did. I mean, if we're being honest, look at the coach who I can't stand, just running everywhere and stuff. But we'll be back. I'm sure. I think we'll see them down the line. I think we'll be back, and hopefully it's in Tampa, and we can get the job done next time. But stay on Gronk. I do want to say, his X-rays came back negative, so it's trending like he will play this Sunday, which is obviously a great thing. He's a very good blocker and great, GOAT tight end if you ask a lot of people. So, exciting things there. But staying on the offensive side of the ball, and we did mention this in our bad segment last week, so I'm kind of, I would say bothered that it's back here in our bad segment because I was trending to put it in our ugly segment because the O-line struggled again a little bit. I know Aaron Donald's there. And they have good, I know they have a good defense, but there's no excuse for Brady to be rushed again that much and then 3 sacks. I mean, that's unacceptable, especially it seems now it's becoming a trend because last week they struggled as well. So what are your thoughts there? Is Donovan Smith back to the Donovan Smith that a lot of people criticized here, or is he, what's going on? I mean, it's becoming an issue. We can't even run the ball either.
I think like Devin White and a few of the other guys, I think the O-line was looking lost to me. I think that they were kind of playing around with us. I think that the battles that we were just dealing with mentally and physically from the first and second quarter kind of affected us, in the second half. It became a little too much. We got exhausted, and I think the O-line was just a little overwhelmed. Honestly, I think if I'm thinking, all right, I'm an O-line, with all the situations, especially the key injuries and all that kind of momentum change, throughout the week, you want to be on your tippy toes, trying to do your best to protect Tom Brady because he's really looking to rack up some touchdowns because we already got a feeling that defense won't be looking way too hot. So for that reason, the way I see it is the Rams, the O-line was just overthinking it. The Rams just started playing with us. They started shifting around. They started kind of changing it up here and there, and they were just coming out full force. All right. This was definitely the first, D-line season that we were definitely having a really big battle with, and we're talking about a really good D-line for sure. Yeah. So, that kind of pressure comes to you, and I you know what? I'll also say that Perhaps it was also maybe people like Jalen Ramsey and the rest of the guys covering our wide receivers, not giving Tom Brady those good looks immediately. So now Tom Brady's thinking for a second or two. And then what happens is O-line's holding them as much as they can. But facing a dude like Aaron Donald, you're thinking, oh, snap. And then it all comes at once, and I just think that overall, if I had to summarize their performance and why they played bad and why they're in the bad category, it's because they were mentally and physically overwhelmed.
Yeah, it was a little rough to watch, so I tend to agree with you there. And then the last thing, our bad segment here, which I'm so happy that you added, because this one really bothered me, because I think this would have changed the course of the game. The Jamel Dean and the missed opportunities, right? I mean, the first drive they have, you could tell Matt Stafford was a little nervous. He hasn't been in big games like this in probably his entire career. And he tosses one right in Jamel Dean's hands. And Jamel Dean is one of the quickest people in our squad. I mean, he gets that ball, it's 7-0 Bucs to start the game, and who knows what happens after that. But it was definitely a huge missed opportunity. I mean, it hit him right in the hands. It changed the momentum, just because, again, then right after that, the next possession, they just went, over our head, and Deshaun Jackson scored. So it was tough to watch, honestly. I thought we had it, and I truly believe if he gets that, we're going to the house. So it was tough to watch. Those are the things that probably don't allow him to be a starter, right? That's probably why Sean Murphy-Bunting is there. And I had high hopes for Dean, but this one bothered me because it would have changed it, I think. It doesn't mean we would have won, but it does help being on the road 7-0 up,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you this. When I think of his performance, especially, the fact that it was in the beginning of the game, I think of this quote where it's, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. All right. So, for me, that drop or that little silly mistake that he had, and I understand there was a lot of pressure and all that, it ain't easy being a DB, but, that kind of thing that happened over there, if he were able to catch it, I think that would have changed Stafford's mentality, the rest of the Rams' approach, at least for the first quarter. It definitely changes your mood big time. Just imagine you're Matt Stafford, you're going against the Bucs, you're like, oh snap, I got to do real well, and boom, start of the game. Who's got an interception? Jamel Dean, and you're like, oh my gosh, we are in some deep waters. You know what I'm saying? So it gets to you. It really does. So the fact that the Rams were able to get away with that, maybe it was like, oof, all right, we got away with that. All right, hey, let's make sure we don't make that same mistake. And it appears that they didn't for a while, which allowed them to rack up 14 points in the first half.
I actually have a stat that you won't believe. So talking about missed opportunities. So listen to this crazy stat. There was 3 passes that Matthew Stafford threw. They were tipped. They all ended up in Rams' hands. I mean, it just sometimes it's not when things don't go your way, they don't go your way, So, moving from our bad segment, unfortunately, we'll have to get to our ugly, which the list is a little larger than normal. I don't know if we've been spoiled the past 10 months. We hadn't lost a game in 10 months. But, that being said, here we go. The first thing on the ugly, and I think that, for all the Bucs fans, is probably the most obvious running game. I mean, I just want to throw out that when Tom Brady is your leading rusher with 14 yards, that is an absolute issue. I mean, this is just not good. To me, sometimes Rojo doesn't even seem interested. I don't know. I mean, man, I just want to hear what you have to say this, because this was straight up pathetic. I mean, 14 yards from your quarterback who's not known, to run a single yard. I'll give him credit. He did look like he could move, but better than last year. So I guess the knee's fine, but it was not good.
Again, yeah, that was just another factor in the momentum change. Knowing that the run game is weak of the Buccaneers, I'm sure the Rams took a big advantage of that. And people on the Rams, I was watching it. They were clapping back with us, getting in our faces. Not just Jalen Ramsey or Donald, but the rest of those guys. So the fact that our run game was looking very horrible, and honestly, I hope that our running backs got a nice, good talk in the locker room, because, yeah, knowing that your 44-year-old quarterback, Tom Brady, got more yards than you, and also he had less carries still. That better be the biggest wake up call of your professional career. You know what I'm saying? So uh, I honestly like that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking at right now for this upcoming game is our running backs gonna make sure they don't make the same mistakes. And listen, perhaps maybe they were doing the best they could, and the O line was allowing those kind of things to happen. But again, I don't know if 11 yards by Rojo and 8 yards by Leonard Fournette is satisfactory or an excuse, regardless of how bad your O line was. So that being said, that is definitely something that will be fixable, should be fixable, and if it's not fixable, then Stefan, I don't know what we're gonna do. Got any idea what do you think ought to happen if our running game just continues to be like this?
Listen, this has gotten so pathetic, Musab, that I have even questioned, do we just throw in Keyshawn Vaughn to see what happens? Like, why not? I mean, nothing's working in the run game, right? Like, it doesn't work. And you drafted that guy decently high, last year. So, what could happen? I mean, I guess he's fumbled in the past, but I mean, these guys aren't even getting a yard. So I would test it out. Why not? And who knows what could happen? I thought Leonard Fournette, leading, which he started technically. I know they kind of split this carries, but he looked very all right. Or even give Gio Bernard a chance to run it. But who knows, right? I mean, he did run it when he was in the Bengals before they had Mixon. So, like, who knows? But you got to try to mix it up in there because obviously the other problem we have is you can't run it with those two guys. And then when Gio Bernard comes in, the entire world knows we're going to pass it. So it's a tough situation. I hope Leftwich and them can figure it out. And going a little bit further, I think this will be the last year of Rojo as a Buccaneer. He probably won't pick up that fifth option because it just doesn't look good. So we'll see where that goes. But moving.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that Rojo statement. Yeah. For sure. This is his final year. The way I kind of thinking, or his final tryout. The final tryout kind of stage. So I just want to point out in regards to Leonard Fournette that he did kind of have that starter role, that hey, we're counting on you role. And there were a few times that I was watching him that listen, I understand he's a running back, but you have to slow down the D line. You have to slow down the safety, whoever's coming at Tom Brady. And there were times that he kind of just completely missed. He really did. And during those times, either Tom Brady just had to chuck it, he got super pressured, or he got sacked because, no one was protecting him. Not just Fournette, but, the rest of the guys. So, listen, pass protection is not a huge main duty of a running back, but a good running back knows that, if the ball's not coming to me, then I still got to do something. And I wasn't seeing that from Ronald Jones at all, and unfortunately, neither from Leonard Fournette.
Correct, and that's why they probably started Leonard, because last week Rojo got blown up every time he tried to protect the blitz. So, I mean, it's a sad situation because I thought this was a strong suit for us. I mean, you got two guys that could supposed to really run it, and then you bring in Gio who can catch it, do a lot of things in third down. So. We'll see. I mean, maybe it's just a string of bad games, but so far, not good. And we'll probably stay in our ugly segment as we move forward, unless we figure it out. But moving to the defensive side of the ball, we have the secondary as an ugly, in the ugly segment. But, that being said, I do want to say, they did play bad, but they are decimated. I mean, our second starting corner is a 7th-round pick rookie. I mean, that's tough. It's a tough situation to put D. Delaney at. Against Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. I mean, it's a tough situation. He didn't look good, obviously, and then it doesn't help that we lost Jamal Dean early in the game. Sean Murphy-Bunting's out. We can't seem to pressure the quarterback. It felt like Stafford had, 2 hours in that pocket. So, I mean, as much as everyone was going to be down on them, I don't think they deserve a pass because you never get completely destroyed like that. But, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they're not looking good. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, disagree, or you kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this one.
I mean, yeah, it's always been, there's been times a lot throughout the past seasons that our DB unit's been a big mystery mark, but in this case, yeah, listen, we had 2 starting cornerbacks out. Even contribute the fact that we had one defensive end out, and even Antonio Brown was out as well. So those kind of things, it just affects you overall. And I hate to say it, but backups are the backups for a reason, I guess. And when you're going against a high caliber team like the LA Rams, then it becomes a challenge because it's a big issue because they got some good wide receivers for sure. Cooper Cup, Woods, it goes on, and they were playing around with us, and I also think that exactly Sean Jackson, those my gosh, that let me say that right start in the second half, big play that between Stafford and G Jackson, that kind of just I think that was a big kick in the face to our DBs. Like,
It reminded me of the Tyreek Hill kind of, doing that cartwheel in front of us or whatever, backflip or whatever it was.
Absolutely. I can't imagine how much kind of clashing there was between our DBs. Like, OMG, what the heck was that? Maybe they were kind of blaming one specific guy, or listen, communication was a very big issue. We were looking lost because we had to work with what we had, and it was very evident, especially with our DBs, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree. And staying on the defensive side of the ball, this one for me is almost more disappointing than the secondary, and it's the pass rush. Because, listen, I understand JPP's out, but isn't this why we spend a first-round pick on another guy who's supposed to rush the quarterback? And then you still had Sue, Vea, Tryon, big payday, Shaq Barrett, a blitzing linebacker like Devin White. Like, it's almost like, what is going on? I know we had a sack late by Will Ghostlin, but that was in garbage time. And besides that, again, it felt like Stafford was, Stafford could literally just sit there and obviously at some point someone's going to come open. I mean, if you're not even putting a hand on your face. And then I'll throw you a stat here that I think you'll be shocked by. When it comes to pass rush, we're dead last in the NFL with 3 sacks. Like,
we're talking about this season so far, right?
Yeah, this season. Dead last.
I'm not surprised.
It's sad, right? I think in the Super Bowl we probably had more than 3 sacks. So it's a sad situation. This might frustrate me more than the secondary, so I don't know if you disagree with me here, but obviously this contributes to the secondary not being, doing their best, because it doesn't matter who the quarterback is if they're just allowed to sit there. I mean, they're just going to pick you apart, and that's what they did. That's really what they did.
Well, I'll say this also, Stefan, is, the more time that Stafford has, the more time people like, and listen, the more people like stars like Cooper Kupp, Sean Jackson, Robert Woods, they have more time to, make some magic happen, play around with the DBs, especially those backups. So
yeah,
they took advantage of that for sure. Okay. And yeah, the first thing that's coming to my mind is how much time Stafford had to toss it to Deshaun Jackson for that, start of the second half touchdown. Just the way he kind of chucked it was like,
yeah.
it looked like a Hail Mary to me kind of throw. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh snap, okay, all right. You know what? Hey, Deshaun's out there somewhere. He's looking like he's open. Let me just chuck it. I got time.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, and that happened a lot. There were times they were able to succeed with it, and there were times that they weren't able to. But they took advantage of the times that they were able to succeed for sure.
Yeah, we got lucky in the first try. They went to Deshaun Jackson when he underthrew that ball and hit our D-back or Cockrell in the back, and what you were saying is completely right. When he had all the time and it looked like a Hail Mary. In his press conference, he admitted that Deshaun Jackson throw, like when he actually scored, that was his 4th read. Think about that. So he was out there, he was able to go 1, 2, 3, go 4. That's crazy to me. He just had all day, and the pass rush has been very underwhelming. And I think we can all agree that we're dead last in the league with after paying the big bucks to Shaq. And I'm not saying he has to have 20 sacks, but 3 games he has 1. I mean, if you want to be up there with them, compared to the guys that have a lot like T.J. Watts, the Myles Garrett, the Khalil Max, you gotta be at least pressuring the quarterback. So that was disappointing, and Another thing that I wanted to bring up, and we brought it up last week again, but again, it just continues to happen. Penalties. 7 penalties again. It frustrates me because this is just a pure discipline thing. I thought this was seriously in the past. That this is kind of what the yucks used to be. This is what people used to know us for. The offside, the false starts, another offside and a punt. Musab again. Like I don't know what's going on here again. I looked it up this morning. We're the second worst penalized team in the league. Think about that. We can't get to the quarterback. We're dead last, and we have the second most penalties in the NFL. Well, that's just a recipe for disaster.
We're hanging by the string, Stefan, and we're hanging by the string, and that string's called Tom Brady.
Pretty much, it was incredible, and since I just want to wrap up the ugly here, we got 2 more last, and I'm just gonna say this: I think we jinxed our boy Bradley Pinion. I want to hear your thoughts on there. I mean, one of my notes is he had a 50-yard punt that pretty much sums up his day.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly the way I kind of see it as well. I don't know.
What was going through your head when you saw that punt?
I was like, you know what? I think this is getting to everyone's head. Honestly, I think, I just think it was affecting everyone. Minute by minute, quarter by quarter, especially the second half. And then, I'm sure. I mean, I was seeing it on TV. I mean, like we all were, but I'm pretty sure the Bucs knew about Sean McVay and how kind of, how wild he was on the other side, and that just gets in your head. Just seeing a super fired up team, and they were treating small wins like they were big wins.
Yeah.
They were treating that little Gronk drop like OMG, that was supposed to be the game-winning, touchdown, and they didn't get it. Yay, we won. They were treating it like that, and I think it started affecting everyone. And maybe it was also the pressure. It was also the, hey, we're already not looking too hot. Let me see what I can do, but it was not just the pressure of us being behind and the fact that we're slipping here and there, but the pressure that they were providing. As much as we messed up, we have to remember that this Rams team is definitely a team that I can see in the NFC Championship with us. So, you know what, Stefan? The way I kind of, would summarize the uglies and the bad are, it gives me a very similar vibe to our game against the New Orleans Saints last year when we kind of just got pummeled. But we came back stronger than ever in the playoffs, and we whooped them. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen.
I'll give you another one. That Chiefs game during the year, right? Tyreek Hill just flipping all over, piecing people out. I think we'll see them again down the line, and I think we will end up having a better record just because our division's a little bit worse than theirs. They're in a really tough division, so I think they'll have to come through us. So we'll see them again, and I'm sure that Sean McVay acting like a fool, running around. Like, I just thought it was an amateur move. Like, dude, you've been to a Super Bowl and stuff. It felt like really weird because he celebrated that missed field goal like it was, I don't know, like they just won the Super Bowl or something. And the field goal was like a 55-yard field goal to end the half. Like, I don't, it is what it is. I don't think it's the end of the world. So, to all those fans that, we all felt sad about it. We hadn't lost in 10 months. We forgot what it was to lose. We'll be all right. Most of our players are injured and not gone for the year. They'll be able to come back. So we'll be all right. We'll see them down the line. Hopefully, this is the team I do want to see down the line. I don't want them to get upset. I want them to come to Raymond James, and I want to take care of business. So that being said, I will say, I hope that I understand Arians is not that kind of guy, but Stefan, I think the energy that Sean McVay was providing, as wild as it was, it kind of reminded me of when this star team is playing the underdogs, even though I wouldn't say they're like an obvious underdog, but yeah,
it's like it's like when that underdog actually has a chance, and then everyone's like, OMG, everyone's going wild. So, for me, I think that's something that kind of affected us. I'll tell you this, that kind of made me a little frustrated. Seeing
Yeah,
a
that
young
bothered me.
Sean McVay, I mean, he's just a young guy, and compared to like a seasoned veteran coach like Bruce Arians, he's already, his team is ahead. He's super fired up, smacking the dudes behinds and all that, firing them all up. As much as I didn't like to see that, I think that's something that is a very important contributing factor to helping a team the Rams when they're facing the champions like the Buccaneers stay motivated. That's what it was. I think if we had someone like Sean McVay on our sideline during a situation like that, I think there would have been a little difference in our performance. I don't think he was needed on their sideline. I think he was needed more on our sideline.
I would agree, but that's also bulletin material. So I'm sure if we do see him down the line, Bruce Arians will be showing this to everyone because I think it got a little extreme for the third week of the season. But okay, it worked. They won. That to the winner goes all the celebrations. So they can have it. We'll be back. And that being said, as we wrap up here, the Rams game. But let's go to our RBLR moment. And, again, for those listeners who are catching us for the first time, this is just as a fan, not more in an analyst kind of chair. What was it that you really enjoyed seeing, that made you kind of smile? Even though this game was tough for us, there's always something that, is positive as a fan or something you enjoy. That's the reason we watch. So Musab, we'll start with you. What did you think?
After a rainstorm, there's always a rainbow. So my little rainbow, aka RBLR moment, as tough as it was, as you said, I really like seeing Tyler Johnson's deep ball. Yes, they got to him, and if they didn't, yeah, I think he definitely would have got that touchdown. But that deep ball was kind of a reminder to me that, hey, don't forget about Tyler Johnson. Everyone's always, including me, always talking about Evans, Godwin, AB, and we even mentioned Scooter. I'll tell you this, when I found out AB was out, I was thinking, okay, Scooter time. It's Scooter time. I didn't think about it was Tyler Johnson time.
Yeah,
But
I
now
agree.
look at him. He did a solid job, and I really like seeing that. With all the battles that we were going through in that game, seeing the deep ball and seeing it caught by Tyler Johnson, that was like, hey, okay, listen, if we were tied and all that, I think that would have been very, very crucial. That would have changed the whole pace. If we were tied and he caught that ball and they got us wherever we were at that time, would have been like, oh snap, wow, okay, hey, good work, Tyler. Now let's rack up a touchdown. But the way I kind of see it was beautiful pass, beautiful reception. Then that could have been a touchdown, but they got to us.
Yeah.
It's a little downer. Big win with a small, with the hint of the L that could have been the little game-changing moment, something a little mood booster, but they got to us. But hey, good job, Tyler Johnson.
Listen, I completely agree. Even myself, I picked Scooter to be the difference maker last week. He wasn't. But I think Tyler Johnson doesn't get a lot of credit, and we all remember that nasty catch in the versus the Saints and a huge third down to get to get us over the hump to clinch that divisional round. But I think he doesn't get a lot of love, to your point, but he should. He's a really good guy. It's just we're stacked at that position. But that being said, it's funny because my RBLR moment is a receiver as well. I really enjoyed the end around Godwin touchdown on the ground. I just love seeing that. And I'm one of those people that sometimes questions Byron Leftwich, and his play calling, but I did enjoy the creativity we've been having this year down in the red area. Right, we struggled a little bit to score in this game, but that kind of end around with Godwin to score. Your running backs aren't really doing the job, so he said, "Screw this." I'm going to go with an end around with a receiver, and Godwin got right in there. It was nice to see the creativity in the red area, so I really enjoyed that one. Moving forward before we get into the Pats preview, there's a lot of unfortunately, knock on wood. Hopefully, these are not all ending the year for these players, but we're stacked in the injury area. But we get some people back this week. Kevin Minter was out last week as we spoke. We thought he would be a huge loss in special teams, and I guess we were all right besides punting on special teams, Musa. But he is coming back this week. He got out of the COVID list today. So any thoughts here? Just excited to see him back, or what?
Yeah, hoping the captain can do some damage on the field. Hoping that he can lead us, and I'm sure being the captain and having to sit out and seeing. I didn't have any words for the special teams. Not that it was really bad or really good. I was just like, I honestly didn't really care too much or have any regard. But everything's going to be very important because we're coming off a loss. I want to make sure everything's as best as it can be, and that means that looking at Kevin Minter, make sure that the rest of the guys know that what exactly we need to do and how to make sure that we just completely dominate the Patriots.
I agree. So another guy here moving forward, AB was still on the COVID list as of today, but Bruce Arians in his press conference today mentioned that tomorrow is the 10-day period. Regardless of the situation, he will be back on the field tomorrow. So that is a huge positive for us. Getting our third wide receiver, whatever they want to name, whatever they are, they're all really, the first three are all extremely talented. So it'd be nice to have him back. Any thoughts here with our boy AB being back?
It's gonna be real nice. I mean, is he the same AB as before? No, but he's a game changer. If you're a young guy and you got AB back with you, I think you feel a lot better, and I think he's ready, and I think he might be. The way I see it, I think he might be a little extra fired up because there's some other things going on the off field with our Buccaneers organization that I'm sure we'll be glad to talk about very soon, Stefan. Why I say that is because I think that might be a little bit of a contributing factor as to why Antonio Brown, if he's all good to go, will be looking a little more fired up more than usual. Especially because hey, it's the Pats, Big Brother Tom coming back to his old home, and you don't want to let down Big Bro. So
absolutely,
that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. So another guy that we all saw in that last play, Giovanni Bardot took a nasty hit to the knee. Apparently, has a slight MCL strain. It's, to me, Musab, this is a little bit concerning because we saw hit. If we had to pick a running back, obviously he played the best out of all of them, and he contributed big time this last game in a big game. I'm hoping he can play. They just have him as day to day. Any thoughts with our guy Gio?
I mean, an MCL injury is. I mean, you can be immobilized for definitely a few days, but depending on how bad it is, it can be a worry. I understand it's a strain, so I'm hoping that we're taking care of it. He's resting and all that, but it is an issue because right now the running back situation it has me a little spooked. It's not even October and I'm already a little spooked, Stefan. And that's because our running back unit ain't looking too hot. But when you have someone experienced who could definitely help out the running back unit, but also help out the wide receiver unit, knowing that he's got an MCL strain, it makes me a little worried that okay, perhaps this is someone who could be very, very important. I hope not, because I hope we just run through the Patriots, but I hope it doesn't bite us. If we lose or if we have a close game, it's because Giovanni Bernard wasn't able to participate with us.
I would agree there. I think he, big contributor, especially with the, our running back situation that as we spoke earlier, hasn't been the best of lately. So there's two guys that were supposed to miss significant time, but we have some positive news and some bad news. Jamel Dean also had a bad injury to start the game, but apparently Musafi did practice today. He was limited, so there's still some hopes for him to play on Sunday. Now, we did lose Scotty Miller. He's going on IR. In my opinion, obviously we need Jamel Dean to play as soon as possible. We're very thin there. Scooter, it hurts, but we get AB back. We saw how Tyler Johnson did. Maybe you don't have that speed with Scooter, but AB can also get open down the field. So not extremely worried about this one. Just more worried about Jamel Dean being able to make it to Sunday because we definitely need him. We were super thin there. We need him to play. So any thoughts on these two?
Yeah, for me, Jamel Dean. I'm just praying for the best because I'm hoping, the past week's performance that he's staying very motivated. He's fired up, and he wants to make sure that he gives it all. And I'm sure there was a lot of reflection going on between him and the rest of the other DBs. Now, on the other hand, for Scotty Miller, uh, perhaps perhaps we can just say, hey, he's the AB of the week. He's out. So, and listen, as much as I want to say it's AB time, maybe Stefan, maybe it's TJ time. Yes, yeah, yes, AB can do, he can do his thing, but maybe it's TJ time. For all our fans out there, when you're thinking it's Scooter time, fortunately, he's going to be sitting out. So, fans, I think it's TJ time. I really do.
I would agree. Hey, to get out of this injury segment, to move some positive news and something that should be helping our cornerback room, as we spoke about it last week as a rumor. It is officially true. The Bucs signed this morning Richard Sherman. My thoughts on this, Musa, before I turn it over to you, is that even 70% of what this guy used to be, it might be better than D. Delaney, Ross Cockrell at the moment. I mean, I also think in the long run, actually in the long run, if we hopefully we make a deep playoff run like we all think we should, when Sean Murphy Bunting returns, this might go from an extreme weakness to being all right with Sean Murphy Bunting, Dean, Sherman, Carlton Davis. So I think it's a very good signing. I think his veteran presence is going to help a lot in that room. A lot of those dudes are really young. And listen, any help right now at this position could really help us. So it turns out to be a guy who, is a big name. He had some off-field issues, but apparently there's going to be no suspension related to that. So I'm excited. I think, we need the help. I don't know if he'll make it to Sunday. I saw, Rick Stroud and a lot of other reporters said that, his expectation is that he'll play on Sunday, but then in his presser, he said, it would be unrealistic to think he can learn the defense in a week. But hey, we don't have a lot. He's technically our backup to our last backup in the corner room. So what are your thoughts? You excited about this one? Happy about this one? Any thoughts?
I see this, very similar to the AB situation, but I think what I'm going to definitely value the most out of this signing is the vision that Richard Sherman will be bringing on to the DB unit. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, he may not be the fastest DB, the strongest DB, but I'll tell you this, his experience is what's going to keep these guys accountable. And we all know Richard Sherman is not some averagely humble, defensive back. This man was Jalen Ramsey before Jalen Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? So, this guy makes noise. This guy makes noise, and I think he's obviously gonna, he's gonna be on his tippy toes as well, and he's gonna make sure that he's not screwing around here and there. But I really do think that as valuable as his performance is gonna be, I think it's his off the field, kind of influence that's going to be very important. What he's going to be doing with the guys during practice to make sure that they do well, but also during the game. When he sees mistakes here and there, I think he's going to be the one that's going to step up, regardless of whoever is kind of the leader of the little DB unit right now. But I think he's definitely going to speak up and make sure that every single one of these guys is being held accountable, and that we're fixing these things. So with his past, I'm sure that he has taken this opportunity, especially from Tom Brady's request, that he's going to take advantage of this, and it's going to be like a tabula rasa, clean slate situation, Stefan. I think this should be a nice fresh start, and it's up to him to, make the best out of it. But listen, he has the opportunity, Stefan. If he wants to succeed, if he wants to take advantage of it, if he wants to enjoy the rest of his football career, then he's going to give it his all. But if those issues that he's been dealing with on and off the field continue on, then perhaps
I'll be in Tampa for a long time.
Perhaps we're gonna be continuing this little DB issue that we have right now. But I really do think that I'm trying to be very optimistic, and there's only so much I can say or want to say right now, because he hasn't even played a game with us at all. And I will say though that because I'm hoping that the Buccaneers are going to be, having an easy time against the Patriots. I want to be looking at the kind of the after the play things. And I'm not talking about just Richard Sherman, but what the rest of the guys are doing, but also Richard Sherman as well, because this is his first game with us, and he's not a rookie, so I already have expectations for him, which is, keeping the guys accountable and giving it his all, and seeing how well he can adjust to our Buccaneers defense. Can he fit in with us? Can he or can he not? I guess we'll find out.
I agree. And that leads to our Pats preview. This is exciting times. But before we jump right into it, the Bucs are favored by 7 points. So obviously, we're favored to win the game. And the first thing that I wanted to mention is, just to get out of the way, there'll be a lot of theatrics around this. The GOAT returns to New England. I have a few questions here for you. I kind of want to give you my thoughts before we jump right into it. What will the expectations for him be? What we're here, his emotions be? Will this just be another game to him, kind of type of questions? I think this is a big game in regards to, he did a lot over there, and all those fans should be extremely grateful. Everything he's done. He's a great, he's the all-time greatest quarterback. I will say that, I don't think it's going to affect him, but I don't think it's just something he's, obviously he's never faced this before, so I don't know how those emotions will be. He's going to come out of the visiting locker room. I know he said earlier in the week, I know where the win comes from. I know how it feels to play there at night game. And I agree with all those things. But the one thing I will say I hope is that he breaks that all-time passing record in the first drive, so we can be done with all these theatrics and we can just get into the game, because the prep for the game is just going to be, I don't even know if there'll be a video for him or a tribute or whatever it'll be, but I just want to get all those things out so we can just get in there and just do what we had to do and come out with a win. But that being said, I do want to hear your thoughts on what are your expectations for him. You think the emotions will be too much? This is a moment that it's not a Super Bowl or anything like that, but he hasn't had to dealt with this in the past, so he has no recollection in his brain of what this will feel like compared to playing in a 7th Super Bowl where he's played in a ton of them, or 10th or whatever. This is something he's never done.
The atmosphere in Boston, Stefan, is absolutely berserk right now. Day by day, as we get closer to this game, people are getting hyped and hyped. There have been millions of raffles that millions of companies in the Boston area have been doing, just to raise as much as money as they can to give someone a ticket, because people are crazy. People are not just submitting one raffle. People are signing up for like 10 to 20 tickets. So people are going nuts. This is a very, very, it's not even a big game because it's like a playoff or whatever, but this is because it's like MJ coming back to the Bulls or something, playing against the Bulls. It's, we're talking about the GOAT. We're not talking about just any amazing player, and I don't mean to put any of the other great guys down, but the way I see it is this moment is going to be more special than anything else compared to, someone like Aaron Rodgers, coming back to the Packers if he's on another team, or like Drew Brees or something, even though he's retired. But we're talking Tom Brady, and, we also can't forget Gronkowski either, but this is a very, very big game, a lot of feelings going on, but I like your approach, Stefan. I wasn't thinking about it at first. It slipped my mind that, we still got a record to break. Tom Brady has a record to break. And yeah, it would be nice that he just knocks it out ASAP. But I will say that, yes, Tom Brady has experience playing, in Foxborough his whole life. Has he ever been the opponent? And obviously, no one's ever going to, give him a hard time. He's not going to be that quarterback who walks out and people are throwing popcorn at his face or whatever. This ain't Philly. So, that reason, it's going to be a little different. But, I think Tom Brady's, he's in a different zone. I think from what the vibe I got from his transition from the Pats to the Bucs, it wasn't like it was all sunshine and rainbows. So, and why I say that is because Tom Brady's looking at, he's looking to let the league know that, hey, just because I'm on a different team, just because my coach ain't Bill Belichick, doesn't mean that, things are different. Uh, this game's all about him. I think he's going to have a lot more responsibility in this game more than other games because Bill Belichick raised him. Bruce Arians did not raise him. Bruce Arians is just coaching him, guiding him. All right. So for that reason, it's a different kind of parental guidance. The way Arians is going to be coaching or guiding or just giving advice to Brady. This is Brady's show. If there's any game I would call the Brady show, and it's not just performance wise, it's just because of the momentum, the energy, the atmosphere. It's this game that we're upcoming. This is the one that I've been waiting for. This is the one that I've been talking to all the other Pats fans, that I have that are my friends, coworkers, yada yada. This is the one. This is the week that mattered the most at work for me. This is the one that we're all getting in each other's faces respectfully. This is it, especially coming after a loss, especially coming off a loss, Stefan. This game ought to be perfect, and I think we're looking good based off of the situation that the Pats have right now, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about that very, very soon.
Yeah, I would agree. And listen, adding to the theatrics, right? That this is the only team he hasn't beat. This is it. Be passing the all-time record, going back technically, if you want to call it home, and the only team he hasn't beat. This would be the ultimate 360 for him. So we'll see what happens. But let's dive into. How about we dive into the New England offense, right? Mac Jones didn't really look that good last week versus the Saints. He threw 3 picks. Now James White is out for the remainder of the season. That doesn't mean they don't have weapons, though. I mean, they still have Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, who they paid a lot of money in the summer to bring over. Jacoby Myers is looking good. Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. So, it's not like they're completely, empty-handed. This is a really extremely well-coached team. They do have some weapons. So, that being said, what do you think? Our defense has struggled. So, I mean, and we know what the Bucs pass is against rookie and backup quarterbacks. So what are you expecting here? How are we going to look? How are we going to fare against the Mac attack here?
I don't think there's going to be any Mac attack at all. I'm sure the best case scenario, the way I see it, I'm sure he'll do a solid job. But listen, if there's anyone who's probably in his room right now with millions of thoughts, it's probably Mac Jones, because you're going against the dude who's raised that team, who's made that team what it is, and now he's coming for your neck. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine that coworker who was working in your department for 30 years is now from a different area, and now he's coming back, and it's like, well, I don't want to look like an embarrassment. I don't want to look like, oh wow, like this is your replacement, Bill. Seriously, you got rid of Cam and you replaced me with this guy. Okay, I understand he's a rookie, but this guy. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And let me tell you, I've been watching a little bit of what's been going on with the Pats, because this game is the one I've been really keeping my eye out on. And the offense was, or just overall, the play calling for the Pats, especially that pass game, was looking extremely atrocious. The offensive line was looking super weak. Lot of issues. And I'll say this, Stefan, the Pats were the hardest team for me to predict this year. I honestly thought that they could be a wild card team, but I could also see them losing 10 games. Yeah, sure, Saints defense was looking hot, but ours is even hotter when we're all healthy. So, this game on the defensive side won't be an issue, but as much as I think Mac Jones will do a better job than last week, the pressure is on, Stefan, more than ever. And, I think that perhaps maybe Bill Belichick thought, maybe, I'll get this guy, and the grass is always greener on the other side. We'll make the best out of it. But it don't really always work like that, Bill. And maybe that pick specifically wasn't the right pick. But, hey, we'll give him more time. He's just a rookie. But I'll tell you this. He's not ready. I don't think he's ready. I think this is going to be a mental game for him and the rest of his team. And being the quarterback, you are the leader. It don't matter if you have the captain patch or not. Most of the time, you do have the captain patch, but being the quarterback, you are the leader, whether you have the captain patch or not. And they're all counting on him. It's important that he's vocal, he is aggressive on the field, and he has a lot to learn. And I don't think he's ready, Stefan. Sure, he can do a solid job. Yeah, I think the best he's gonna do is a C minus, but that's about it. Because
this is a big moment.
this is a big moment for us as well. We're coming off a loss. You got Big Bro Tom, coming back to his home, and you don't want to let him down. You don't want to let the rest of your teammates down after what happened last week. So we should be, and I'm expecting, and I think we will be firing on all cylinders.
I would agree. So, wrapping up this segment here as we go, let's move to their defense, right? I mean, the defense is not bad at all. I have a few stats here that kind of shocked me really when I was, looking into our notes. They have the second best defense versus passing yards allowed in the NFL. It's 159 yards per game, which is really good. They're the fifth defense against points per game. They're only allowing 17 points a clip. That's pretty good. But Musab, you will like this one. They're in the middle of the pack when it comes to running. They're allowing 122 yards per game. I know we haven't been able to establish the run, but if there's a game to be able to at least establish it for a little bit so we can get Tom Brady a nice play action going towards the end of the game, and a few deep touchdowns, it would be beautiful. So that being said, what are your expectations of our offense against their defense? I think Tom Brady will be on his best behavior, and I think in my opinion, we'll be able to run the ball hopefully more than we have, which will let us score a few touchdowns later with the aerial attack. So I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts based on all these statistical. I know they don't mean a lot. It's only 3 games, but they are in the top the top of the top when it comes to points allowed and passing yards per game.
Well, I will say, as straightforward as this sounds, I don't think this is going to be super accurate, but perhaps this may be a contributing factor, which is when you have someone like Tom Brady who's been, sitting on the bench watching his Pats defense put in the work for 20 years, and now you're going against that Pats defense, and I'm sure Bill Belichick was like, all right, well, Tom knows a lot already. We got to change things up. So, because they're going to change things up, or as I'm expecting them to change things up a lot because, they want to get in Tom's head as much as they can, I don't think it's going to work out at all. I think they might have some good moments, but perhaps there may be a little slow start on both ends, but we're going to be taking advantage of it. I really do think so. I can't speak too accurately for our offense compared to our defense, but the vibe I'm getting, or my prediction is, it's going to be something similar to our Bucs game we had against the Lions. Already kind of looking hot in the beginning, but we just really started pummeling over them, just dominating second, third, and fourth quarter. That's when it's really going to start kicking in. I think we might be able to get a feel of them. The first quarter. I don't think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows for us against their defense. But as time goes on, I'm expecting a performance of the Patriots defense like we had this past weekend against the Rams.
Alrighty, well, that being said, Musab, let's move into our 2 favorite segments, the game predictions and the awards. So let's start with the game prediction, and then we'll move forward with the awards. I'm gonna give you my prediction here to start. You give me yours. I got the Bucs winning 38-21. I think the defense will play better after getting slapped in the face last week, and really we haven't been that elite in the first 3 games. But again, the Pats, to your point earlier, Musab, they do not have the offensive power that the teams we've faced so far. So, and I believe Brady will have a very, very good game. So, which is why I got us winning by 10 plus points. How about yourself?
Oh, I like the 38, Stefan, but I don't think they're gonna get 21. Honestly, I think ideally I have them at 38-10. Why I have them at 38-10 is because I think we're gonna be looking real hot. I think we're gonna be racking up some touchdowns, and we might squeeze in a field goal, which is why I put 38. And I think they might be able to get a touchdown, but I really do think we're going to be giving them a hard time. Maybe towards the fourth quarter, if we kind of sag off, just because I don't know. Maybe they might hit 17, but realistically and ideally, I'm looking at the 38-10 Bucs win. We're going to be dominating them the whole time. I think their touchdown is going to be coming around the late second or third quarter, and or actually I take that back. I would say late third, early fourth quarter. I don't think things are going to be working out. I think they're going to be very lost. The game they had against New Orleans was definitely a big wake up call, but knowing the team you're about to play also has been awoken, and guess who was already awake but now is more awake than ever, probably on like 10 5-hour energies, if that's a good metaphor, and that's Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's gonna have like the mentality of Sean McVay. I don't know if he's gonna be, smacking dudes behinds and running around back and forth, but he is gonna make sure that everything is in the tip-top shape. I said it before. This is the Brady show, which is why I got 38-10. Honestly, maybe it might squeeze in a field goal. Maybe we can make it 38-13, but I'll stick with 38-10.
I like it. I mean, it's both as long as we both have them winning, that's all that matters, right? And hopefully pull it out. So that being said, we said why they would win, offensively and defensively. But as always, we pick our awards. Our Mr. Fantasy. This week, Musab, I have Mr. Brady. I think he'll shine in his return, to Foxborough. I think you'll have 4 TDs and over 300 passing yards. I think, if you have Brady, this is probably a good week to feel good about yourself. I think, to your point, this man studies film like none other. If there's a game that has ever mattered to him in the regular season more than a Super Bowl, or not matter more than a Super Bowl, but if there's a second game in his career that's mattered more than all the Super Bowls he's played, it's probably this one, right? I mean, this one, I heard how his exit was, so I think he'll be ready and prepared to light them up. So I'm going with Mr. Brady as my fantasy player this week.
I like it. And I was feeling Brady, Stefan, and I know he's going to do a great job. But I'm going to say Mike Evans because I have a little bias. I actually have him on my fantasy team as well. So I think Mike Evans is going to show out. We know Mike Evans is an all-star, and I think people sleep on him. And I think he's going to take full advantage of, the New England lost defense that they're about to play. And I think he's going to rack up at least 2 touchdowns. There's going to be a nice special connection between Brady and Gronkowski, of course, whenever they can. But I think this is going to be the Brady Evans show on the offense. Oh, absolutely. Other people will be definitely getting their spotlight, but as I was exaggerating the Cooper Kupp Matt Stafford connection last week, that's what's going to happen this week. It's going to be the Tom Brady Mike Evans connection. So that's who I got on my fantasy. I think he's going to be racking up a lot of points. So fantasy owners, I'm sure you're already going to start him, but I want to let you know that you are in good hands because I really do think that Mike Evans, he's going to go off. Seriously. I really do think so. You're already coming off a loss. You're an all-star. You got Big Bro Tom. Things I've already mentioned before, et cetera, et cetera. So, Mike Evans, I know you're about to give me a show. I know you are. So, yeah, that's my Mr. Fantasy.
Love it, Musab. So talking about a spotlight and a show, the Bucs will be facing the Pats this upcoming Sunday. The night lights are on, and it'll be a great game to watch. So we're all very excited here at RBLR. As always, listeners, we want to thank you so much for your time to listening to us. We're very excited. And if you could please just, follow us on all the social media platforms at RBLR Sports, we would really appreciate that. And if you could like and subscribe and all to our major platforms, that would be very good for us as well. We would really appreciate it. Musab, I'm sure you're excited. You live in Boston. This will be a great one to, this whole week must be very exciting up there. I know we're excited down here. And again, it's the nightcap. So get your beers cold, everyone. And let's get ready for this one. And with that being said, Musab, I'll leave you with the last words.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special week. A little extra special for me because, yeah, as Stefan said, I'm in Boston as well. I'll say this. Show out. Bring your best outfit. I'll be wearing my Super Bowl Devin White edition jersey. And I got a little money saved. I'm going to ball out on the snacks. I'm going to be ordering some Papa John's. It's time to have fun. This is going to be a fun weekend. I can't promise you that because I don't like making promises, but it's a guarantee. I will say that. So, that being said, we are in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you as always, and go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.